Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wise Tips. Thank you so much for joining us today. Eduardo, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Rachel. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the development season who's coming. It's around the corner.
It
Breeding
is.
season is
We're
gone.
here.
It's time for us to crank some code.
Heck yeah. All right. So we're going to try and make this quick today. So first, just a little bit of announcements. I will say this until I'm blue in the face, y'all. We have our wish list webinar this coming August. It's August 12th. Go on the discussion group. If you are not a member, go join it. And go ahead and mark your calendars for August 12th. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. So we're going to be deciding the big projects that we're going to really dive into this fall to have ready, hopefully by this coming breeding season. So bring your notebooks, bring your notes, bring out everything that you've wanted to talk about. Bring. Okay. Eduardo, I think you've got some other announcements too.
Yeah, and by the same token, I just want to, get you guys going with your mobile app. I've seen the number of people installing the mobile app and get curious about that is growing. We can see our servers increasing, the number of requests on the mobile app. The response has been amazing. So I encourage you guys to keep going with the mobile app and learning about the things you want to see next. Pretty good topic for you to bring to for the webinar that we're going to be using the wish list for the development season.
And speaking of learning more, I am so excited. I know Eduardo and I have been talking about this all week. Our Wisecast. If you haven't listened to our Wisecast with Rich Allen from a couple weeks ago, please go and do that. You will find so many great resources for your business. Rich has got 15 years of experience coaching businesses. He's even told us about the things on his website he's made free to all business owners through, if you go to tourtoprofit.com/challenge. He made a whole month worth of instructional videos for business owners, managers, etc. So please check that out. But even more exciting, this week we've got Kirk Edelman with Innova Partners who will be joining us on Thursday at 4 p.m. Central. So be sure, mark your calendars. And if you can't join us right then and there, we completely understand. It will be recorded and of course available here on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, Wise Option Equine.
Yes, it's going to be interesting because Rich was talking about all the challenges and the hurts and how to work with your team and get a great staff. Now we're going to talk about outsourcing the administrative work.
Yes.
It's going to be an interesting to see
Yeah.
the flip side of the coin.
Yeah.
But that's for sure for good. Those podcasts will be on the open side of our Facebook. However, as you guys know, we have our VIP area, the discussion group for Wise Option. So in the discussion group, it's where we, have our more close announcements and group meetings on the development so users can follow in the 2 cents. So it's a place only for Wise Option users and people related to our daily lives and per se. One thing that I just wanted to say, if you are requesting permission to join our group, just make sure you answer all the questions. Sometimes we receive, just random people trying to get to the group and they don't answer the questions. If we don't know who you are, we will not accept you. So please make sure that you answer all the questions. Otherwise, you will be denied. Like I said, discussion group is only for Wise Option users only. It's a very selected group. So we have to be very thorough about that.
Yes, and we know and we love you all, but again, I am the one who's running the discussion group and I have not been here very long, so Eduardo might recognize you, but I don't. So like I said, filling out those questions really helped me to make sure that, we don't want anyone in there that shouldn't be. So please make sure that you do fill out the questions so we know you should be there. Well, without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and get on with our Wise tips. I'll go ahead and
let's go for the Wise tips.
So my first one, it has to do with the patient file. Actually, I've got a couple, but we'll just stick on the patient file for a little bit, and I'll do all the patient file ones, and then I'll let you go on a few. So I've got a few just quick tips about the patient file. So if you go to any patient on there, if you look up in the top right-hand corner, I'm going to see if I know my lefts from my rights today, you can kind of zoom in on that. So we've got a couple, which we've added more recently. You've got 5 different fields there. You've got owner, agent board, trainer, registration, origin. It used to just be, I believe, owner, agent board, and trainer. We've added more recently within the last year, I think, registration and origin. That we really added for the Global Vet Link integration. Just because if you don't have Global Vet Link doesn't mean you can't use those fields. It's fine. But really, like I said, just to kind of clarify, if you're wanting a particular person to be billed for that horse, that goes in the owner field. None of the other options are going to be billed. Okay, so you can have different trainers, agent, registration, origin. None of them will have any impact on billing except the owner. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that again for those of you who maybe don't use the Global Vet Link integration and don't understand why some of those other fields got added. You're more than welcome to use them. But like I said, they will not have an impact on billing except the owner. Along the same sort of ownership lines, that syndication button as well, kind of tying this in. When you do set up a syndicate, let's say you set up a syndicate down the middle, 50-50. When you add the two owners, you'll have a choice on which one you make the main owner, which is the owner that's going to show up in that owner field box back there. It doesn't mean it's just going to bill that one particular owner. It is still a syndicated. As long as you set up the correct percentages, it will bill according to the percentages. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one then you decide to say is the main owner and what you see there in that box. If you've set up a syndicate, it will bill according to those percentages. So I just kind of wanted to be really clear about the ownership and how that relates to the billing. Stepping out of the billing a little bit and going into the locations. So if you kind of go right there and you can see the locations, if you click on location itself and look at your list of available locations, I've noticed a lot of people are a little bit confused when it comes when you add a new location and it asks you to select whether it is a parent, a child, or a sibling. So a good way to remember this is, again, just think of like a family tree. Okay, so if it's a parent, it's going to be above the level you clicked on. So right now, I think we're clicked on NA right there. So if it was a parent, it would then look like what Quarantine Barn is to ISO stall number 1. So Quarantine Barn is the parent. ISO stall number 1 is a child. ISO stall number 2 is a sibling to ISO stall number 3. So siblings are on the same level as each other. A parent is above a child and a child is below the parent. Okay. So again, if you do make a mistake, it's no big deal. You can't really delete locations, just throwing that out there. But what you can do is you can make them inactive. And you can actually just put kind of like how I did there, that Z dash inactive, and I kicked it to the bottom. So that's kind of a good way, just kind of throwing that out there. Deleting locations is kind of a no-no just because it is all recorded in logs. It is a part of some patients' log history, so we can't just delete it. But like I said, you can kind of add some X's and make that go down to the bottom.
If I may just add one secret hidden place here that people usually don't know. If you mess up and you put an item accidentally as a child and you don't want that, you want to bring that item back to as a sibling or parent, you just highlight that item, go to rearrange, and when you pick the item, you can on the item, there's a right click, and when you right click, it's gonna throw up. It's gonna throw up. That was bad what I said just now. It's gonna move it up.
Close enough to a Monday.
Yes. Yeah. So one level up. So instead of being a child, it's going to be sibling of what is now currently the parent. But playing with this and rearranging, we're going to, of course, we always have some e-learnings out there. It's just to give it a shout to remind you about the parent sibling thing. Very good call, Rachel. Thank you.
Yes. So
My turn?
I'll let you. Yes, I'll do. Yep, let you do a couple.
Well, in my case, I'd like to go for procedures in the patient file since we are here. And when we are in procedures, we have here the reminders side. It's possible also to do this from the summary card. But today I'm going to be talking about scheduling multiple reminders, the same task for multiple dates. And the way you can achieve that, you go to the procedures or summary card. In this case, I'm working with reminders. I click on the plus down here. I'm going to pick any, let me pick one here. Which should I pick? Lameness exam. It's a good one. So I'm going to pick lameness exam. It's telling me this is a reminder. The only thing is that I pick the task first, and then I would like to do one tomorrow, 2 days later. And I can keep doing this. I can select multiple dates. And when I hit save, all those dates I will have the reminder scheduled for.
That's a lot of lameness exams, Eduardo.
Absolutely, yes.
As someone who trotted horses, I don't like that.
Yeah, Easy way, just pick multiple dates. I've seen people doing that, because sometimes there's people who don't use the task
Right.
reports. We talked about that. They just grab the horse and every 6 weeks they put farrier, or they put, dental work a couple of years, or a certain, if they don't have per se a hospital, core hospital operation going on, they could use this for, every other week, some sort of a bandage, and just keep in mind about treatments. That would be a cool way of
Yeah,
scheduling multiple times the reminder, kind of creating a customized way for multiple dates.
definitely. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. So can I jump a little bit on the hospital
Yeah.
module
Yeah,
before?
go for it.
On the
Yep.
hospital side, I would like to give a shout for one feature that I think is really cool, and I'm going to the hospital treatment list. And this is thinking of technicians or night watchers. Inventory or pharmacy managers sometimes like to leave the baskets with the treatments ready for the night watchers. And the program already knows what's going to be the treatments from now, let's say, until tomorrow, 8 a.m. And down here on the bottom, people don't realize that we have the medication preparation. This is a module, actually. It's very discreet, but it's a very powerful tool. When you click on the medication preparation, it pretty much suggests the current hour until 8 hours in the morning, the 8 o'clock in the morning next day. And what it does, it will, based on the treatment list, see all the treatments you have within that time span, that period, and is going to put together so you can count and prepare the drugs. So it's going to say how many buttes, how many this, how many that, so you can get all your drugs prepared until that hour, so you don't have to manually count anymore. I think this is pretty handy, and it's one of those features that people don't use very often because they don't know about it.
Yep, that is true. Awesome. Well, can I go on to my little impact module real quick?
Let's go.
Okay, so let's go ahead and open up a task file. And I think it was ketamine is the one that I had drawn up for you guys. So we're talking, I know last week we kind of started touching on the impact module. So again, that is complex tasks and massive update management as well. So part of the impact module is the ability to set what we call default quantities for tasks. So if we go into task file, there's a lot of things that the impact module adds to task file. Last week we talked about task links. This week we'll kind of touch on default quantity. This is something that I think that can definitely, if you have the impact module, this is something that you should definitely look into. So default quantities are common quantities that are given of the drug. And you can actually, if we go ahead and click on it, you can see that you can actually set them by practice. You can set them by professional. You can add exceptions so that you can kind of more customize it. Mine right there is real simple. I added a title to it and you add a certain quantity. So I said 5 mils. You can do this, for instance, with a lot of sedations would be really handy. Like, half mil of Dorm, 2 mils of xylazine, real common quantities you give over and over again. Because when you go to add the task, it's already going to be there. You can just click on it. You don't have to remember to hit base or, base unit, add your quantity. You just click it because it's already there.
I like the way you did for Dr. Sam, because some doctors have their preference in quantities and dosages when they're preparing. So as a particular dose, either for sedation or antibiotics, whatever medication, you can give even the name of the doctor. And when the doctor goes there and, select that task, you're going to have the names and the quantities already preset. You don't have to change the numbers, less clicks. Even a reminder for the technicians about the preferences that each doctor has for different medications. Cool feature like that.
Definitely. Well, did you have any others or are we good? Did we do it?
Well, I think we're good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have. Well, I have a long list, but we are trying to keep this short. So I will keep my fingers crossed this time.
Okay. Well, we'll save it for next week as well. Well, thank you all for joining us. We really appreciate it. Like I said, mark your calendars for that webinar on August 12th. I believe it's a Wednesday. And also make sure you mark your calendars for this Thursday at 4 p.m. Central. with Kirk Edelman from Innova Partners. He'll be joining us for Wisecast. Everyone have a safe rest of your week, and we will see you soon.
Goodbye.